Man, I miss midnight launches. Like, there was a time where midnight releases were the pinnacle of like gaming culture.
3, 2, 1.
If you're hyped for a game, you weren't just sitting at home waiting for it to drop or waiting the next day to pick it up after school. You're at a packed out GameStop, or for the Australians, EB Games, surrounded by people with the exact same passion who are just as excited as you. Like, it really wasn't just about getting the game first. It was the whole experience. The anticipation, meeting people in the line, the stores being like decked out with posters, merch, the countdown with everyone screaming 10-0. Like, there was something so special about those nights.
So let me get this straight. You're trading in your PS3 for Halo Reach.
It was a fun console. I don't know, I want my Xbox.
But now midnight releases are basically not a thing. And the way we consume games today feels so empty in comparison. So a midnight launch these days is pretty much just preloading a game and playing the game as soon as it hits midnight. Or maybe switching your console to a new region like New Zealand, if you're that desperate to play early. But yeah, man, call me an unk, call me a boomer, but it's just not the same. Like, I went to a ton of midnight launches back in the day, and each had its own vibe. But for me, oddly enough, the one that sticks out the most is Call of Duty Ghosts.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. My name is David, and last night I went to the midnight release of Call of Duty Ghosts. Hey, say hi to YouTube, guys.
Howdy.
So here's the crowd in front of GameStop.
Me and my homie were so into COD sniping at the time, like trying to join FaZe, and this is coming right off the hype of Black Ops 2. So we were so keen to go to this midnight launch, and we pretty much had to be there. Obviously we were young as, so we couldn't drive. It was super late, so there was no buses or anything. Uber probably wasn't even a thing back then, to be honest. So I really had to convince my older sister to take me 30 minutes to the nearest EB Games just to be a part of the experience. And like, bro, it was packed. They had like arcade games set up, like Guitar Hero. The staff were even wearing ghillie suits. And everyone was just talking about the game because we all enjoyed the same thing. It almost felt like a celebration. And you know, you'd finally get your copies at midnight. You'd rush home and instantly boot it up. And I instantly hopped in a party chat with my bro, loaded into the first match and just soaked it all in all night. And the next day we skipped school without hesitation. And of course we got so roasted for doing this, but I do not regret a second of it. Like, that night really felt like an event, and it felt like I was meant to be part of it. And like, that's such a memory that's so beautiful. Like, me and my homie just did that. I even went to the Destiny midnight release, and I think I got my first PS4 there. It was like a white PS4 bundle or something. And you know, same vibe, arcade setup, all that sort of stuff. But I do remember going to the Black Ops 3 midnight launch, which was sick. But to me, that was like almost the sign that midnight releases were starting to fall apart. This was when games started having massive day one updates. So like, I got Black Ops 3 at midnight. I got home, ready to grind all night. I'm going to be hit with like a 40 gigabyte update, and internet in Australia back then was absolutely shocking. So I didn't even get to play till like 5 a.m. And from memory, that was the same as Destiny. And I could only get an hour in before I went to school the next day. But man, these midnight launches were so good. I remember getting so many goodies from it. I got this huge Black Ops 3 poster, and that alone made it worth it, especially being such a COD fanboy. But like, fast forward to today, 2025, midnight releases are pretty much completely gone and extinct. And the saddest part is that most people will not experience them. So let me know in the comments if you've ever been to one, because I'm super curious. And let me know your age as well, because I'm assuming the 18-year-olds and stuff, you guys have not been to midnight launches. And I would say one of the biggest things for that, and I touched on it briefly just before, is that digital downloads really took over. Like, no one was buying digital games back then. Yeah, there was an Xbox 360 store and there was a PS3 store, but like, people were just buying discs, man. If you were buying digital games, you're sort of weird back then. Like, nowadays I can download the game weeks in advance, preload it, and start playing the second it unlocks. There's no waiting in line, there's no driving to the store, and no dealing with like sold out copies and that sort of stuff. Like, for convenience this is great, but for the culture it's a massive loss. Midnight releases were more than just buying the game. It was an event. The giveaways, the conversations, and the collective hype was just so beautiful. And it sucks, man. That's a whole nother topic on its own, but physical discs are dying. Like, realistically, when was the last time you needed to buy a physical game? You know, outside of like a collector's edition, most people don't even bother with discs anymore. Not me though. I'm an unk, I'm a boomer. I definitely always would prefer discs. Even the fact that I can sell them. With today's like AAA gaming space, I guess you could say, I know that I'm not going to want to keep that game. And if I've spent $100 on it, I'm for sure not just going to let that digital file sit on my Xbox. I would rather have a disc that I can sell when I stop playing it. I saw a meme, I don't know how long ago, but it was like, men hit 25 and start hoarding some form of physical media. And that is so true. I don't know what it was, but as soon as I hit 25, I started collecting like Xbox 360 games. And I think this sort of has to do with like the console side of things. Like pretty much everyone is on PC these days. Like you can't even get a disc for PC. And even how they're selling Xboxes and PS5 nows without disc drives, it's sort of forcing your hand to buy digital games, which I think really sucks. I love having physical games. So like, why would a retailer like GameStop or EB Games hold a massive midnight event for a product that only probably 10% of people would buy a physical disc for? Like, it sort of makes sense why they're not doing it. Another huge shift that might have impacted this was back in the day, almost every major release was full-priced physical game. Now, you think about the biggest games today, they're free to play. You've just had Marvel Rivals drop in, Fortnite Warzone, Apex, all that sort of stuff. Midnight releases don't make any sense with those sort of games. Even these paid games are moving into the live service model where the launch date isn't really important because they've saved the content to a month later. So like you think about Black Ops, yeah, they know that they're going to release Season 1 a month later. They knew that they were going to release Nuketown a month later. So almost when you're buying the game initially for these sort of games that try to mimic live service, you're only getting a portion of the game from the start. And I think that kind of affects the whole midnight launch buying a disc thing as well. Like realistically, midnight launches are never coming back. Like the gaming industry has moved far past that, and the gaming industry is moving even farther past physical releases. Midnight releases were a product of an era where physical games mattered. Like when launch day felt like a real moment, and when gaming culture was oddly enough like more in person than it was online. But now gaming culture is pretty much completely online. You know though, there's this small game called GTA 6 that's coming out very soon, and this is going to be the biggest gaming event in over a decade, if not ever. Like this GTA 6 release is so culturally significant that there needs to be a midnight launch. Like if Rockstar and retailers go all out, we might see one of the last true midnight launches, like a last beautiful supper, you know what I mean? Like I could literally imagine people camping outside stores for GTA 6. The news stations would show up and cover the hype. Like I can really imagine that, but will it really happen? No clue, to be honest. But man, I really hope it does. Like if I could just get one more midnight release, I could die happy, especially if that is GTA 6. And it sucks, man. Like midnight releases, they didn't necessarily disappear. They're almost like a casualty of the way gaming has changed and is changing. Like, yeah, everything's more convenient now, but in the process, we lost something special. And I know I sound like such an unk right now, but man, that's how I feel. In my opinion, gaming feels more isolated, more corporate, and more transactional. I don't know if that's just because I've gotten older, and I'm not really playing with homies like that, but that's just sort of what it seems like. And new gamers might not even realize what they missed out on, but for older gamers, the ones of us who were there for the midnight launches, waiting in the cold, skipping school, playing on the Xbox 360 at 3 a.m., those nights were so magic. And it's so sad that we'll never get them back. So yeah, like I said, I really want to know if you guys have ever been to a midnight launch and what's your age, because I think that really defines like whether you've been to one or not. And it sucks, man. If you're younger listening to this, I pray you get the experience to go to a midnight launch. And if GTA 6 has a midnight launch in your area, I urge you to go because you will remember that forever. Even if GTA 6 ends up being absolutely shit or like broken, that will still be such a huge moment in time that you can say that you were there for and you can just experience it. But yeah, man, I'm such a nerd. If you like this video, of course, like the video, subscribe for more like nostalgic content like this, or just Call of Duty content, or just like chilled back commentaries like this. Of course, as always, all my links are in the description, that being like my Twitch, my Kick, my clothing brand, and my clothing brand's Insta, my Insta, and my Twitter. As always, I appreciate you guys so much, especially if you're listening this far into the video. And yeah, that's all from me. That's been Once Faded. Peace.